Okay, a couple of people have asked how I make the ribbons for my 31 ornaments, and I'm going to show you how. And this is kind of an idea taken from what I've been doing in the past and then also combined with a blogger that I follow, Brooke from Refabbed. So you can find her on Facebook, and it's just RE-FABBED. So the very first thing that I do is I decide which color scheme will go with my ornament. And this ornament, this is a collage of my sons from 2013 to 2018 at the same fence line of baseball every year. And I've captured that into a collage and then uploaded it as a photo insert and rotated it upside down so that way the hole is at the top, which we're all very familiar with these now. And then I'm going to give this as a Christmas present for their grandparents who usually are at these games. So it's kind of a special thing that they can see through the years as to how much they've grown. Okay, so the first thing that I do is I just decide on the color scheme. In this particular ornament, I see kind of like vintage gray tones and some burgundy. So I'm going to pull out the colors that I see, like the burgundy and the navy, the gray, and make my ribbon for my ornament with that color scheme in mind. So the first thing that I do is when I start to make my bow is I take the ribbon that I've selected and I cut them into I would say probably about a 4-inch strip, and I'm sorry I haven't measured this, but that's approximately. And then I kind of lay them based on size. You can use wire ribbon for this. In this particular bow, I do not have wire ribbon. I'm just using a very flexible burlappy type of a ribbon, and then a like the ribbon that has the ribs in it. I'm not even sure what the official name. I don't know if it's called Grosgain ribbon or what it's called. And then like a silky ribbon, and then some thinner strips of ribbon. And then I'm also going to use some jute. So I'm just going to go ahead and make the bow for you so you can see. So I will take my two widest pieces of ribbon and cross them. And then I will just follow that same concept and cross those and layer my ribbons accordingly. And what I'm doing is I'm just feeling for the silky side, because on this ribbon I can't quite tell. I don't know if there's a front or a back to that one, but it doesn't matter because it ends up looking just fine. And these ribbons, they don't have to match. So like if you have scraps, I always save, all my scraps that I have so I can make bows out of the scrap ribbon that I have as well. And you can do all your trimming up later, so it's okay if they're not perfect size. You want to try to get them to lay as flat as you can, and you can see I'm making that cross pattern. And then once I get that cross pattern with my ribbon, I'm going to add a little bit of jute in there as well. I think that just gives it an element of different textures. I like working with jute because, one, it's super inexpensive. You can get it on a big roll like this, and it just brings kind of that country kind of flair to it, that farmhousey kind of look. So once I get the ribbon all layered out, I just kind of play around with it, but I'll take my hand and I just kind of cinch it up to see what it might look like, and if it's too thick or too full, or if I need to add more, though, that's kind of where I get that idea. So I just pinch it and take a look at what I have and see if it's something that I'm going to like. And I think this one's going to be just fine. It's a little bit flimsy, but I think it'll be okay. And then I cut a piece of jute, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch it and tie it as tight as I can in the back, and then leave these loose ends because that's when I'm going to tie to the loop on my ornament to give it the look that I want. So I've got it pinched. And I'm just going to kind of hold my hand there and bring it around to the back. Now with wire ribbon, it works a little bit easier because you have that wire to kind of give it some structure. And I'm just taking it and knotting it in the back. And I try to tighten it as tight as I can. So I'm going to do another knot. And if you're using something like a baker's twine or something, the tighter that you make it, just be careful that it doesn't break, because twine kind of will break. And then I just flip it over and I kind of spread my bows out, or my ribbon out, and kind of get that bow look. And I just kind of fluff it out. Again, with wire ribbon, you have a little bit more structure. So there's some things that I can already see that I'm not like absolutely loving. I feel like it's really heavy on one side. So you can pull, because they're individual ribbons and it's not actually tied into a bow, you can pull. I'll also go in and I'll just kind of make it look a little bit better. So instead of having the diagonal cut, I'll cut these so, sometimes I forget which way I'm going here. I'll cut these so they have like that look, which I like that look. I don't do it all the time to all of the pieces, but I do it on the coordinating side. So make sure that you're matching them up so it doesn't look lopsided. So in this case, I'm just going to grab the grays, and sometimes I end up doing it all the way around. You really can't make this. You really can't go wrong with this. It's pretty simple once you get the hang of it a couple of times. And I'm doing this really slow just so you guys can see. But when you do this, it goes really quick. Like I can crank out a bow in no time. Okay, so I like those ones. Those ones are looking pretty good. These long burgundy ones, I just need to snip. And same thing with the jute. But jute, I just feel like it's a little bit too long for the look I'm going for. And these ones I also feel are just a little too long, so I'm going to take these down too. So you're basically just kind of giving it a little haircut, making it look a little more crisp and clean. Oops. Sometimes with your ribbon you might need to be careful because some of the ribbon might fray a little bit. You can always put a little bit of fray check on it so it doesn't fray if you're concerned about the ribbon fraying at all. Okay, I think I'm going to cut that one down a little bit too. All right, so that's looking pretty good. All right, the next thing that I do, let me clear this space, is I grab my ornament, I take a piece of jute, and I just kind of fold it in half and push it through the little hole that's there. And with jute, you have to be careful because sometimes it will do that because it doesn't always thread the easiest because it's kind of actually little pieces all wound together. If that happens, you can go with a thinner jute or just snip it off and find yourself a new spot to pull the ribbon through or the jute through. There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a loop and then just do a little knot. So there you go. I have my ornament, my jute rope onto the ornament, and this is the part that's going to hang. Now, if I put this bow right here, one, I'm going to cover up half of my ornament. And I don't like that look. I don't want it to be so far down that you can't actually see the ornament. So I like to bring it up just a little bit So what I do with that is I just tie another knot kind of where I want it to go. So I want my bow to sit right about here. And then I do another knot so that way it can go around the tree or hang it however Grandpa and Grandma decide they want to hang the bow or hang the ornament. Knowing them, they'll want to keep it out all year and not just at Christmas time. There. So now I've got like 2 little knots. So this is going to be where they're going to place it onto the tree, but the bow is going to sit right here. And then when I get that nice and secure, I just snip the jute at the top. Now I use a glue gun, and I put a little bit of glue on the back of my bow and a little bit right here, and then I'm just going to hot glue it to the hanger. I put a little bit of glue there, and then a little bit of glue. Actually, I'm pretty generous with the glue there. And then I just stick them together, flip it over, because now what I want to do is I don't like all that glue just sitting there. So I take a little piece of the ribbon that I had cut, and I just make myself a little square to kind of cover up that glue glob that's on there. It just kind of cleans things up a little bit, makes it look a little more finished. Before I do that, I take the ends that I tied my bow with and I just make a quick little knot around it just to give it that extra security that I feel sometimes something so flimsy needs. And then I cut my ends off. And now I'll adhere the little piece that I had cut to cover up all the glue. So see, that just looks a little bit more finished. And then there I have it, my ornament with my pretty bow. Now I'll go back, like I can see it just really needs some fluffing out. It's not perfect by any means, but my main bow is done. One thing I do notice is that I've got this tail is a little bit longer. So like I said, you just kind of go back and you just fine tune what you've made and adjust your ribbon as needed. So I hope this little tutorial helps. It's really easy. If you have any questions, just let me know. Or like I said, go follow Brooke at Refabbed and she will maybe explain this a little bit better to you. But they're just quick, easy, fun little bows to make, and they look darling on our ornaments. Have a great night, and everyone have a very Merry Christmas.